Welcome to Character Workshop with Elv. I'm Elv. Today we're joined by Missy.
Hi!
Missy is an amazing person and writer. I've been wanting to work with her forever, and I'm so excited to finally have her on my show. And in this episode, we're gonna explore the dynamic relationship of having both a writer and an artist work on the same character at the same time. Are you ready to do this, Missy?
I'm ready. I'm excited to work with you on this.
Yay! Are you in the mood for something today, Missy? Is there a certain character you want to make, or genre, detail about them, so we can just start or something?
I feel like they should have horns. I don't know. I think they should have horns.
We love a good horn.
I love horny babe.
We're all horny there. Okay, that's great. So we have horns, these beautiful horns that I just made. So if they have horns, does that make them a demon, a fantasy creature, like a what's it called, fawn?
I don't know. I've been working on a story about a Minotaur-inspired story, basically. So I'm just kind of stuck with like Kunari-style creatures, I guess.
Yeah, that's something that's kind of important when you write, is actually to have some inspiration, and I feel like every artist has their own inspiration, and I find it very interesting because I'm really interested in fantasy stuff, but I'm not really delved into minotaurs and that kind of stuff. It's
yeah, I don't know. I've been really into especially Greek mythology since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like we took a vacation on a Greek isle at some point, and I don't know, ever since I've been obsessed.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of a hobby of mine.
Then let's
Yeah,
totally
I don't
just
know.
run into the Greek, everything Greek, and I just go make a super Greek fantasy dude, or do that.
Yeah, I'm taking notes about the horns now.
So, I feel like horns kind of have a negative connotation when it comes to characters. You know, like the devil and all that. So, do you think we should make the character cursed? Like, he was cursed with having these beautiful horns.
I mean, I feel it's kind of cuter if it's just like either like his race thing or like just people having animal attributes kind of thing, maybe like maybe a future kind of scenario where you can splice genes in.
Ooh.
So they chose to have these really cool horns.
I mean, I would totally choose to have horns. Yeah, we can do that. It would be cool to like have a future setting, because I've only really had past settings in my stories.
Mm-hmm.
So let's totally do that. So, do you think we should have like sci-fi in on it?
That's a good question. I think it has to be some sort of sci-fi, at least in the biological, technological terms.
Mm-hmm.
So because if you get like genetic splicing, you have definitely researched genetics a lot more, and society must have changed to some extent to be more open to like animal attributes. That's definitely gonna have an effect on the world. Or maybe they're kind of like outcasts, even like it's like punk, like rebel,
Oh yeah,
to have like to go to and get spliced.
like
it's
the new
kind of
tattooing.
cool, but also like maybe sort of like tattoos nowadays.
Yeah.
Like they're cool, but they're also like not okay for the workplace kind of thing.
Yeah, I like that.
So
Let's
it's-
keep that.
So sci-fi punk.
Yeah. Should we like embrace like the whole punk aesthetic and give him like punk clothing, or should we like stay away from like the whole punk idea? Not like idea, but like the aesthetic of it.
I think it would be cool to just express it that this character is in like a punk-ish setting, because how else I don't know how else you would like show the kind of setting and the kind of person they are within this setting without using like contemporary language in this way.
That's true. Well, if it
I mean,
if it's visual,
I could probably
oh yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Now, in writing, it's different because you can like write and describe and explain the rules.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, it's always good to have like some sort of shorthand which actually shows like this old addendum of don't tell, just show.
Mm-hmm.
Show, don't tell.
I mean, we can also do that in the art by like we can like have him be in a public space with a ton of different people, and they can all look normal while he looks completely modified, and then we can have like people look at him oddly, you know. So
yeah, but that would run the risk from someone just looking at it and not knowing what it is. It could also be like, this is a different creature, this is an alien,
yeah,
kind of thing, and I kind of want to avoid that.
Yeah, that's something I thought of too, but I was like, who knows? But yeah, we can.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think let's go for like the whole punk aesthetic.
Like maybe like a futurized punk aesthetic,
Yeah,
like kind of combining like futuristic aesthetics with like punk aesthetics.
Oh wow, I really like the punk aesthetic. How like messy it is.
I like how colorful it is. I think especially colorful is gonna work really well for like a future setting. Like black clothes and offset with like really bright colors. And like maybe to take in the futuristic, make it very angular, like very angular lines and triangle stuff seems to be often what people envision as futuristic.
Yeah, like the whole like kind of like everything is sleek, but also has like very unorganic shapes.
And very angular also.
Progress. So how would you actually go about writing this character?
That's a good question. We definitely found like some base that will like give me goalposts, so to say. Like a framing, like okay, so they're definitely like a rebel in a futuristic kind of style. And this future setting is gonna like inform who they are as a character. And so I would probably go about like world building, because punk is usually not anti-mainstream, but often anti-establishment. In its conception, at least. So the establishment, the government, has to be some sort of thing to rebel against, right? So
we already have like the whole like anti modification, genetic modification kind of thing going on. So would you say maybe it would be good to have it kind of the plot line of him trying either to like make it legal or whatever, or feel accepted?
I think it's probably like a government which is really uniform, like maybe even like a robotic level quality. Like everybody is so. It's getting political because we're talking about governments, of course it is, but like this typical like the government is full of drones, basically, like humans are drones living into the day, just working all day all night, just being used by the government kind of thing. So everything, like if your body technically belongs to the government, messing with that body, modifying that body would probably be an act of rebellion.
Yeah, and like then we have like the big contrast of like super synthetic robots and then more quote natural forest types of creatures happening. Yeah, I like that.
It's also very interesting if this like future sci-fi government is very technologically.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the theme
Do you wanna try to think about like you mentioned like the robot government thing, like how they would look? So I feel like if you have like a ton of, well, when it comes to visual stuff, if you have like a ton of soft shapes on him, we can then have a ton of sharp edges on them to kind of emphasize danger and the whole like unnatural vibes. How would you even write a robot government kind of stuff?
well, for one, it's definitely a type where there's a lot of black and white clothing, like very uniform, maybe gray tones, like very drab kind of thing.
I don't even know what I'm
Like,
making right now.
everybody is wearing the same thing. Like you can't really
Everyone's just a big mass.
like no fashion sense in the clothing, not in the work clothing anyway. Though I'm trying to figure out like if this is because it sounds like a very capitalist oriented world. Would do like because selling clothes is so very much a capitalist experience. Though, so I'm it's like sort of rich elite which is exempt, who can do stuff like wear their own clothes.
So, yeah, we can also have like so like that there's like a ton of ads playing in the background, you know, for like those capitalistic thingies.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure if like where the capitalism comes in and where like the technological uniformity comes in, because like are if like let's assume the workers are robots, like real robots, that would mean that nobody would have to work necessarily. But that doesn't really work with our aesthetic as far as we've established it.
True. So how about we make it so that so the higher up in society is like robotish, like what's it called? Cyborg, you know, kind of aesthetic, and then like the working class and below are like struggling to keep up, and like them and like the what's the higher up the middle class, what's that called again?
Good question.
So like the rich people are like constantly
Yeah.
shaming the middle class for not being there, and like you're not living your best life if you're not a cyborg, and the only way to have
Yeah,
validation is
I
to
like the idea of like everybody being like worked to death, and when something goes wrong, that body part is just replaced with tech, kind of thing.
yeah. And then
Which can be a good thing for people, but it's also like due to where the origin is, that people are worked literally to death in poverty and kept in poverty. Like that would also be like play very well into this idea of this government owning the body of the poor and middle class.
yeah.
Though I think probably at this point in such a government there is no longer a middle class.
Like the wealth gap has spread so far that there's only like an upper class and a lower class.
I like that. we can like enforce like the capitalist the capital the whole like money idea, but like we can have like a scene in the book, movie, comic, whatever we're making. There's an ad playing in the story, and it's like showing like the whole like the message is like, express yourself, be creative, and like all of the models are like exactly the same with barely any modification to like the clothing and everything. So like the whole idea is like you can express yourself, but only if it's like, done our way to make us money, you know.
I like that. Like selling not even just a perfect body like maybe all the models are the same but they all have a different cyborg part, like one has an arm, one has a leg kind of thing, maybe even.
Yeah.
Like that's the only difference.
Well, we can have it so that the models can be cyborgs. How about we have it so that everyone that's an entertainer is a robot, so that there's no really human nature in their entertainment, so they don't really get that human connection anymore when it comes to like seeing things on TV and all that.
Yes, which makes sense in a way if you like take some of parts of the world today and like exaggerate the process into like a future state. Because like they have no human connections because at work they have no time. They work all the time anyway. And then like all you see on TV is like cyborgs and robots. We are creating quite the dystopia, and just because I said Greek mythology horns.
I know, right? It's crazy how it just goes out of hand really quick.
Yeah.
We can have it so that there's like a soap opera going on, and like all of the cyborgs are like showing like very basic fake human emotions, like honey, I love you. You make my processors go wild.
Well, to be fair, if you take the thought like a bit further, at this point the technology would be so fine moved that you would not be able to tell apart android from human.
True.
Like the only way you can tell them apart is if they have something that makes them like programmed into it, like an identification number or something, like if they have like a special phrase, an identification phrase. I like this. And then they have to rattle off like their answer, like the identification number. But otherwise you would not be able to tell them apart. Also, like, if you have robots, why still employ humans?
True. Well, there can be like a rule where robots are only allowed to work in certain fields. They're like, oh, we need to protect, because that's kind of what happens in like day to day when it comes to like when there's a new invention. Because like in Norway, back when the color TV became a thing, it got banned here because like, oh no, because if the color TV is sold, then the black and white TV will go out of production, and that's bad. And like, no, that's called adapting.
I just wrote the government saying, don't worry, we're protecting your jobs.
Oh yeah, exactly. But in reality, they can just take it all away. Well, what else have you written down, Missy?
Basically just some things we were talking about, just taking notes basically. Like the horns I've got the punk scene, which is anti-establishment. And I got like some notes on the world building, like that the government is anti-body mods, that it has a very tech aesthetic, that the lower classes work to death, that the cyborg parts are replacing broken human parts, and that the upper class is super rich, that there's a feeling of a human disconnection going on, that there's an identification phrase for androids, and what the government says, basically just a slogan.
So, when it comes to like plot line, have you discussed the plot line so far?
We have not actually. It's funny because like this is really evolving into like almost a world building session, which I did not expect at all. Like, yeah, sure, because you have to figure out what the character's place is, but we totally moved away from the character, and I'm just talking about the world at this point, I feel.
Yeah.
Well, it's always important to know like what the big players are, like what the social structures are, I think. And we basically discussed this, like what the government is like, and that there's an upper and lower class who feel very different about it, like this huge wealth gap and experience, gap in experience even, because like very different life experiences. And then you can know how your character fits into this world, right?
Mm.
So going back to our character, the rebel horns might actually be like, it's this animalistic thing, this animalistic body mod in rebellion to like the cyborg replacing stuff.
Mm.
I wonder if we want to go this way, if instead of replacing broken limbs with cyborg parts, people in this rebellion would even go so far as to like grow animal parts instead,
Mm.
like a goat leg or an elephant leg, maybe even like
Yeah.
really, or like a big cat, like predator legs, like.
Would you say that they grow it themselves, or would you go as far as be like, oh no, we're gonna attach it to you?
Okay, this is gonna be biologically complicated, and I'm not like 100% on how this all would work. We know that today we're trying to like find a way to replace organs with animal organs, like especially pig organs are very popular because the immune system is super close to ours,
Mm-hmm.
as far as we are aware. So that's something science is currently actually interested in.
I'm gonna doodle someone with like an animal part beside like horns, because that sounds fun.
Like cat ears and stuff, that seems like easy.
Mm.
Or even tails, like that would be something people would do.
Oh yeah, but that's more like a cosmetic thing, right?
Exactly, which makes not as much sense. It would be like basically a piercing, I think, because that's like for show too, like showing you belong to this group,
Mm.
this anti-government group. Though I think it would be interesting to see someone either with like equine legs,
What is that?
or maybe even cat paws, like, or maybe like big cat, or bear claws. Bear
Mm.
paws would be cool.
So then, if it was like bear claws and stuff, then they kind of would be fighters. Do you think there would be like this underground kind of fighting environment where like people get like modifications to fight harder?
Well, probably, yeah. I
Mm.
mean, knowing humanity, we always do everything that is vaguely an idea.
Mm.
Maybe even like animal versus robot kind of style fights.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Like having cyborg like people with cyborg limbs fight people with animal limbs.
Mm. So do you think that, okay, so like so if you say that like the cyborg people, they are like the wealthy people, and then the animal people are like the ones that can't really afford cyborg stuff?
No, technically the cyborg people would also be lower class.
Mm-hmm.
The upper class is very, I think, very, I don't want to say human because that's not true, but like they don't have to make changes unless they are cosmetic and they want that kind of
Yeah.
modification. So I can imagine that there's like young, trendy, not quite teenagers anymore, like young adults that grew up like super rich and are like, I'm gonna get a body mod to piss off my parents kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
But that's definitely happening, like this co-opting a certain culture that developed out of necessity and out of anti-government feelings,
Mm.
and co-opting it to be trendy, that also seems like a very human thing to do. I'm writing down cultural appropriation.
Yeah, that can totally be a thing there.
Cosmetic cyborgs and animals.
So if we try to like make an actual plot line of it, do you think that it would be a fun way of or a fun thing to do would be to have like two people of different roles meet and kind of have like the culture clash together, like one that is like wealthy and has like cosmetic modification, and then the other one is like, oh no, I have this modification just to try to live, you know?
Mm.
And then
That yeah, I think that would be a good way to like look into the world, because I think like the upper class is probably gonna be closest to our modern perspective, Not really, but the closest anyway, because they're gonna be naive about the government, because it's never been a problem, so they don't really have to think about it. For them, at least, they're gonna not know much about this culture except like the basics. It's always good to have like a sort of naive character, so you can actually explain the world. Because why would somebody who grew up in this culture be like explain to a friend what a thing is, while you need someone to explain to the reader what this thing is. So that's always a good angle to take. Though it can also like become kind of like tropey.
Yeah.
So, but that's not. This is brainstorming session. This is everything is goes.
And like the whole thing, like there is like this whole idea that everything has been made in the past. So it's kind of like, I think the main focus is only to just find like a thing and then put your own spin on it. You know. I feel like we kind of have that with like animal versus.
Robots.
Yeah.
We got kaijus.
Pretty much.
That would be fun, like somebody body modding themselves into Godzilla.
Oh my god. There would be like this whole like like online discussion, be like, look what I did.
Oh my god, yeah, like old classics from the past, like somebody would totally do Batman. Yeah, no, I think like maybe like the naive heroes or something, or hero, and being like, I don't want to marry or whatever, like something that's maybe not even that drastic, but just like having a disagreement with their parents, maybe even like having like very neglected parents, because I imagine like if they're like super rich and just like this perfect family image kind of thing going on, and then like the daughter is like forced off to like nannies and teachers and stuff, and like they don't really like imagine like a girl growing up like with mostly like robot nannies and teachers, because you can't trust the lower class with your children.
Oh yeah.
Like that would also like really connect the idea of human disconnection, like having someone in the upper class feeling the same feeling and feeling connected to this lower class culture through that. That could be like having this topic of disconnection between society, between humanity, would be really interesting to explore. I would really be careful not taking an ableist angle, because already this whole like cyborg replacing broken parts, which is why I keep putting broken in quotes, because this kind of futuristic thinking often lends itself to being very ableist.
Yeah.
That's not the goal here, so I would take care to maybe even show characters who choose not to replace, who choose to lose the cyborg replacements forced onto them.
Yeah, I agree. We should definitely do that.
Yeah, like this idea of like this girl coming into this culture, like maybe running away from home, not imagine it to be difficult, and just kind of maybe ending up on this underground fighting ring because she's so rebellious, you know? And like realizing that this culture is maybe a bit more than she really imagined. Like nothing could have prepared her for this, and like then maybe like this is one of the fighters she sees in the rings, and she kind of ends up like connecting with him. So then you have your two main characters and their dynamic basically.
Yeah, I love that.
Though if her motivation is finding connection and finding humanity, maybe like as a theme, like this disconnection theme, but her motivation would be to get away from her parents and to like flip them the bird basically. Maybe she would get like, I think bird wings would be very cosmetic because humans don't have hollow bones enough. They're too heavy to actually use wings effectively. You would need them way too big to actually be useful, and even then our body structure is not made for it. So I think like it would be really, or maybe like butterfly wings, like something really frivolous, right? Like super cosmetic, super not useful, just frivolous.
Yeah, I like that. So would she get them to get those wings before she met up with like this guy, or would it be after?
I think before she meets up with him again, I think she goes into like this underground culture, watches the fight, like that's the introduction to this guy basically, and then is like kind of pushed around, ending up like at like one of those people discussing with others what genetic modifications they want, and kind of is like, I'm getting a tattoo, right? Like this kind of maybe even drunk decision. Like just high on the freedom of everything and just not thinking about consequences, because she so far must have lived a pretty consequence-free life, right?
True, yeah.
So that's not a thought that crosses her mind, and she's like, fuck it, I'm getting butterfly wings. And I mean, she's paying for it, and these people have to live somehow, and they're not gonna say no to that, right?
Exactly.
So I think she probably gets those wings, and maybe then she has like a crisis afterwards about, oh my god, what have I done? Can I get these removed, kind of thing, and maybe meets the fighter guy in a dark hallway.
I feel like this would be like an amazing comic.
I can see that being very visual, like especially like the harsh lines of the cyborg aesthetic versus like this very soft lines of the animal aesthetic.
I guess we just need to write a comic now, Missy.
I guess we do. I think maybe even we would probably go back and like maybe take some things out of from the early stuff, because I think we definitely landed on something here. And maybe if we take out the cyborg parts, maybe aside from maybe like the fighting underground cyborg versus animal part, like maybe taking out the entire lower class topic and just have robots everywhere instead. Because that's gonna, I don't know, it feels like a bit dissonant at this point, because it felt like we had a topic and we totally veered off into a very different theme. Like not super different, and I'd see logically how we got here.
But it's hard to bring it all together.
Yeah, I don't feel like this fits. Not ideally, at least.
Yeah, we have hit the refinement process.
We do. We've got there. But yeah, no, I mean, either we can like fiddle with it to make it fit, or just take it out, or make it like a smaller part of the history. Like maybe the entire animal underground fighting thing is actually like further into the future. Like originally you had this cyborg replacement kind of program thing going on, and then animalistic culture, animalistic body splicing was very rebel, very punk. And now we're even further into the future where like maybe the wealth gap hasn't been fixed, but there's like a different government now, and there's a change in how it goes. Like the rebels have actually managed to bring about a change, open up a dialogue kind of thing. Maybe just a bit of a more hopeful take on the government.
Yeah.
And have that as a starting point. Like the rest is history, and this is the starting point, and like the lower class now has the option to like keep the cyborg stuff, or like there's better like health programs, and a lot of them just choose to get splicing instead to get rid of that history, but also some keep it as a reminder of that history. And then you have like kind of fun stuff like underground fighting rings popping up.
Yeah, because I like the like whole idea of like the fighting ring kind of being like the main focus in the beginning. Like that's like her first like encounter with the whole like kind of society and like culture around their their environment. Fighting ring is kind of the focus, and then again I really like the idea of it kind of being cultural appropriation in some way of like.
Yeah, it's this idea of like the culture sprung up out of necessity, out of rebellion even, and it meant something, and now it's like kind of being co-opted by trends and by entertainment even.
Yeah. So like we can have like some like more refined versions of like maybe the fights or other types of things on like the television and over whatever they're watching at that time, and then there will be like this romanticized view of what the animal fighting people do. So she kind of want to join like the fake idea of it.
Yeah.
But when she comes to the ring and sees how it actually is and like how violent, how bloody, probably a ton of drugs, alcohol, that kind of stuff, she kind of gets like very cold feet and she kind of flees away.
Yeah, but not before getting butterfly wings.
Yeah, but that's kind of thing. So I imagine like she gets the butterfly things first to kind of be like, okay, now I'm ready to join the culture, kind of thing.
You think? I don't know. I feel like that's a sort of drunk decision thing. Like she got into like maybe the culture a bit, like at a meeting, maybe even with other young, naive, or rich kids who were like, "Let's go do something illegal," you know, that kind of thing, like something that will piss off our parents, and maybe even peer pressure, get talked into it. So she probably goes there with, in quotes, friends. Because they're not real friends, but they call themselves friends. And then like kind of ends up like maybe drinking, maybe somebody spiked her drink even. And she ends up way more drunk than she expected, and like probably somebody talks her into like, let's get a tattoo kind of thing. Let's get a body mod. And then it's like you first, and gets it, and probably it's at this point, I assume like the splice growing must be super quick, like super accelerated.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I can't imagine that it would take too long. She would back out by then.
Yeah.
But like this immediate stupid decision to get that, and then everybody is like, "Oh shit!" and maybe someone gets like cat ears or something, but that's it.
Yeah, I feel like it would be super painful. So, so maybe she goes first, and they can kind of see like how painful it is, and they all kind of
what a shock it is.
And they run away without taking her. And when she's done, like recovering, like maybe that takes like an hour or something. Like super, like everything goes super fast. She's like, what is happening? Where is everyone? I'm so lost. I don't know where I am. My friends are gone. I have these rings, and then she kind of just stumbles into the fighting ring.
Yeah, and she's kind of drunk, and probably everything is spinning and colors and strangers everywhere, and everybody has like weird shapes because they have body mods and stuff like that, and just super lost and kind of feeling helpless, maybe even.
And then he can come in and be like, "Oh, hey, you okay?"
Yeah, exactly. Like
there's
running
some kindness
into...
in this odd world.
Yeah. Much kinder than her friends, in quotes. I don't even know who our other character is yet. Like,
that
aside
guy.
from the fighter, like the fighter guy, who's kind of kind to her, seeing her being like all confused. But like that's everything we know about him at this point. Like, what's his motivation? What's his dreams? What are his goals?
I feel like he's kind of there just to survive day by day, kind of thing. Maybe he has like his own family that he's trying to tend to. Maybe like a younger sibling. Maybe their parents are gone.
I did write down like the government changed its tune to, you can work if you want, but you don't need to. We'll take care of everyone, kind of thing. Which is not working 100%, obviously, but it's probably a better situation than the one that was in the past. But I think like he would definitely be born to parents who were in this subculture in this rebellious subculture, definitely lower class kind of situation.
So he barely has any of the benefits that that people who didn't really rebel have.
I think. I don't think like I think we have at this point we probably have like universal income kind of thing, or maybe even things don't cost money exactly, but credits are used for some sort of like transactions still, but it's all entertainment and luxury kind of things.
Would you say that maybe? How about there's like we can have like illegal people who aren't like in on them, they don't have like legal papers, so they can't like apply for like a universal.
That could work. That could definitely work. That's an angle we should consider. I'm also thinking like if this is like the first generation, like he's born into the first generation where this new government is like enacting their laws and new ideas. It could be very much like slums, like just concrete slabs that are like really small apartments, like one-room apartments that don't really work all that well yet, like because it was just really built really quickly. It actually kind of reminds me of like after World War II, there were some building projects, especially in East Germany, where they really just basically slapped really ugly concrete buildings into places to have more apartments for people. Like kind of that kind of situation. And then it's like him and his family of like 8 people, like grandma, parents, I don't know, an aunt, an uncle, everyone's children, like all live in this one tiny apartment kind of thing maybe. Yeah,
I see it as that too.
Right, so maybe they could even be like immigrants who are still like trying to get their paperwork in order and don't have like all the benefits yet.
Yeah.
But I think like basic food is probably taken care of, at least for the citizens.
I feel like it's kind of like where you get like a certain amount of dollars per like week or something, or dollar or money per week, and then
credits.
Credits. You get so much credit per week, and if you want more, then you have to work. You know.
That could I can see that, especially for this transition into this government, because you can't just take it away and change everything, because it's always slow. Change is always slow,
especially if there's a ton of people. So it's and
the rich don't want to get taxed either.
Exactly.
They want to keep their luxuries for themselves.
And so there can like be like maybe during the plot there can be some political events that is happening, and violence and that kind of stuff. And
oh yeah, I can see that like the rebels who have like protested and been active in trying to get change done, being some like more extreme groups who are not happy with how little has been achieved. Like it's a big change, but it's still not enough kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's gonna be like the passive activists who are like, but we're gonna like get this done through the government, it's gonna take time, you gotta chill. And then there's gonna be like, no, we want this now, we want this immediately, and screw the government and f*** you know?
Yeah.
Because I think both sentiments are very much relatable.
They are.
I'm calling him Fighter Guy now. We should pick up names.
Oh yeah. Well, should we like should like the setting of like the countries and all that, should that be like real life countries like America, Germany, whatever, or should we make up our own? I feel like since this is so removed from like reality and how it actually works, that it would be more fun to have it.
What if this all happens on the moon?
The moon.
What if humanity popularized the moon at this point? Like the Earth is still existing, but probably with climate change and stuff, it's not very hospitable anymore. So we kind of went and made like Mars and the moon like hospitable, like did like some environment changing things, and the terraforming is still happening on Earth. It's just gonna take time for everything to heal.
Well, would that mean that like the rich people live on the moon, or would it be like everyone lives on the moon?
That is actually the rich people live on the moon, and everybody else has to live on Mars, which is less hospitable even after the terraforming, because it's colder. It's like further removed from the sun, like kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
I like that idea
Yeah.
because the rich people want to stay close to the Earth.
True. Do you think that there will be like a tension between like the government or whoever is doing this and the people of what is it, Mars? Or
I think they have one uniform government. Just where they live, it's like across the ocean kind of thing.
yeah. Do you think there will be like a big conspiracy where like they aren't sending us back to Earth. We're gonna stay here forever, and they're gonna take all of the rich people.
Oh, certainly. Certainly. Though I think in the past version of this, where the whole lower class poverty thing was going on, I think at that point they specifically worked people into the ground to avoid that kind of uprising thing, that to exhaust everybody so they could not protest, so they could not object. Because it was getting like, I don't know, annoying. Too much paperwork.
Yeah.
So instead they started like working them to death. And now this change is slowly happening, and people are starting to get disgruntled again. Yeah, sure. Nobody really knows what's happening on Earth. They always just hear what the news says, but who can trust the news?
Exactly. And now, should we try to find a conclusion for the thing, or should we keep that like hush hush? Because I just want to make this into a whole thing now.
I don't think we really have we have like the basic ideas of a conflict, but we don't really have a central conflict yet. So I think we should work that out anyway first. And keep the conclusion hush hush. Yes.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Maybe he even has like scales, like to protect the skin parts.
Or not like
Like
scales.
I don't know, maybe crocodile skin
Yeah.
style, or maybe even a rhino style. Oh, that's nice. Though I think she's gonna have more color in the wings.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna be super colorful, but I get it's also so totally your style to keep this all like one tone-ish.
Well, you know,
I like it though.
the first sketch is never the finished concept.
That's fair. No,
But-
it's gorgeous. I really like this word. Like, remember what we started with? Literally, our starting point was horns, and we ended with a girl with butterfly wings who meets a fighter guy after having a panic attack.
It's amazing what happens when you just think.
Right?
And that kind of goes back to the whole thing, like, oh, the character just writes itself.
I think she's gonna have like a sort of name that's very rich people, like how you would today say, like super weirdly written but super easy to pronounce white people name sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
But like the futuristic version of that.
What would that be? Should we
I
like
feel
base it
like-
off a real name, or should we make up a
I don't-
completed?
I think we should probably mesh a couple of names together.
I feel like a typical like rich person name would be like Alyssa, Alice, something on A.
Ashley, Mary, Leanne. Yeah, kind of. I don't know. I feel like her name starts either with an E, an F, or a V.
Oh yeah, how about something like Vivian?
Yeah, but mesh it up with something with another name, like Vivian, Viv, and like I don't know, Eleanor maybe, Vivalor.
How do you even type that? Type it out for me, Missy. People, I like it. I like the first
Right?
one.
The second. I like the second spelling a bit better.
Yeah, it kind of
But
looks longer.
I'm trying to figure out if I want an E in there, but it just doesn't look as pretty. It's getting an accent. Give me a second there. Accent aigu. Voila. Vive Laor. There we go. That looks super alien.
And then we need a name for him. Would it be like something super simple?
I think it should be something like one syllable kind of thing, but also not like a modern typical name, because we want like it's definitely a common name where he's from, but it's not like Mark or Frank or something like that, which is common today. Okay, let's say his name starts with T. I feel like a fighter should start with T.
Todd.
There's names like, I'm looking at Irish names right now for some reason, and I'm stuck on like Tiernan right now.
Teddy. Because he has bare hands.
He does.
His nickname can be Teddy.
I really like Tiernan. I don't know why. Tiernan? I don't know how to pronounce it. I think this one is probably the easiest for us.
Oh yeah, I like the Tiernan.
So Vive Laor and Tiernan. Because we don't want this to be easy.
No. People have to suffer with us.
So he got like bear claws?
Yeah, I think so. Bare hands and claws on his feet. That might
Are
be
there also
modified.
bear claws on his feet, or are they like a tiger? Or
I don't know. I bet we can figure it out.
we could.
Hold on, let me just eat my
I
grape
feel
and
like mixing it up would be even funnier, because like it shows that he's really in this culture. To have different animal parts and to have like different spliced genetics.
Okay. Let me just
Oh,
swallow.
maybe, I don't know, it kind of looks not really raccoony, but like that kind of animal, like
I feel like we should go
We
with
have, like, the-
animals that aren't really, that's like seen as like cute.
yeah.
So that
I
it
think
doesn't-
like, I don't know, maybe armadillo, maybe they have like these kind of digging claws, and I feel like it looks kind of like he has like these kind of diggy claws.
Yeah, let's go for that.
So armadillo feet.
Tap. Thank you so much, Missy, for joining us today and created this weird, cool
Very
story.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, anytime. Let's do this like every weekend. Yeah, all of Mrs. social links will be in the description. Support her on Patreon, follow her on every social media, and if you have any suggestion on what we're gonna do next time, please write them out, and hopefully we can get to them. Bye, guys. Bye.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Bye.